Hey everybody, this is Dave Cooper, and we are in Washington, D.C. at the MMC, Modular Mobilization Coalition's first set. And this is super exciting because I learned something today that I did not know. This is actually the first multi-family modular set in Washington, D.C. I think that is absolutely incredible, and it just goes to show where we are headed. So listen, if you're just joining us, we are live on 3 locations, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Hit that like and share button right now so we can bring as many people into this as we possibly can. And also make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so what are we going to cover today? We're going to get into the details of the set, what's happening behind us, and to go through that, we have the VP of Construction, we have Rob with us, and we also have the head of set crews, Gary, with us, Gary Zimmerman, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to start with Gary, Rob. Gary, you have only since 19 years old have done modular, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So tell us how you got into this a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm Gary Zimmerman. How I got into it. Started when I was 19. I've been working with VBC for a handful of years now, setting their multi-story projects, and it's pretty exciting stuff, just stacking up boxes.
Yeah. So listen, it is exciting stuff. I mean, and I think what's super exciting between, yourself and Rob is you guys have been running sites like this all over the place. Isn't that absolutely correct, Rob?
That is correct. We primarily focus in the Philadelphia region, but over the past 3 years, we've done jobs in Colorado. Now we're in Washington, obviously, and working our way up and down the East Coast.
Yeah. So Rob Schmalbach, VP of Construction. Give us a little bit about your background before we jump into everything we got going on here.
So I started out in the conventional world, stick framing. Then 10 years ago, I met Vaughn, and we connected, and we've been working modular construction ever since. We started with spec houses and single family, and now we've moved to multifamily.
Yeah, I love it. All right, let's get into the details here. We have a lot of people joining us today. We're going to try and get to all your questions and comments the best we can. So, who wants to kind of guide us through? I don't know if everybody can kind of see behind us what we have going on. We are sitting on top of the pillars, right, of the podium that we have here. We're probably 20 feet up in the air. Does anybody know the exact height?
So we're about 18 feet up in the air, and for the construction of this project, they used steel beams with a concrete platform on top of it.
Right. As far as the set goes on this, walk me through the logistics of what have to happen with the set, the crane. I mean, if you really think about what we have going on here, this isn't a low ground set. This gets pretty high. You got to have something that can lift the modules and have the reach. And we're in the middle of, an urban area. There's traffic everywhere. So this is definitely, an impact on what you guys are doing. Can you walk me through the whole setup of this site and what had to go into it to make it happen?
So when the client first comes to us, the first thing we do is come out to the site, do a visit, and see logistically, does this make sense? We have to find a staging area somewhere within reason where we store our boxes. And basically we start planning from day one the logistics. Can I get to the site? What's my easiest way? I've got to talk to the local authorities, find out jurisdiction-wise what my timing is. Can I bring boxes anytime during the day? Do I need to follow curfews? And then we start working with the site team and basically laying everything out and having them understand what the limitations are that we need and what they're going to have to give us so we can have a successful set.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a whole lot of professional guys. There's like busy beavers everywhere on this site, and everybody has a job and everybody's working hard. I don't know if they can see that, but they actually just put another module up behind us, and from the sounds of the crane, they're going to get ready to pull those cables out. All right, so whether it's Gary or Rob, who wants to walk me through what we're seeing up here? Because right now, what are we on, 5 inches of concrete?
Yes.
All right, so we're sitting on 5 inches of concrete on top of the first floor of the podium, and then we have sill plates here, right? Basically, we have the same sill plates. What is the idea of having these plates versus setting the modulars on the concrete?
So obviously there's a fastening detail. You can see it's 8 inches on center we had to go for the bolt fastening, and it just allows us to fasten it to the podium, basically.
Yeah. So when we talk about the podium, these are tied into the steel beams below.
Correct.
Okay. So, and then I also see you guys have everything marked out with chalk lines. Is that chalk lines for the modular box set so you guys know where to place them?
Yeah, it was just center, just to pre-mark the foundation, yes.
Got it. This entire set is 44 modules. With this set, what do you guys feel is kind of the biggest logistical issues you have to deal with when you have something this big?
Well, on a project like this, you start working with the structural engineers, and basically they're going to create a design for the podium and how that's going to support everything. But then we're also going to talk about how do we tie the modules, which are independent of each other and of the podium, together. So that is done with a variety of different methods. One of them is an ATS system, which is the rod that is behind us. That gets welded down through the concrete to the steel beams.
Yeah, let's walk over and actually show this here, guys.
So basically, this plate here is welded through down to the steel structure. Then we come in and we weld the ATS rod to that, and then the ATS rod basically is connected up through the structure, up to the roof. As the building compresses over time, the ATS has some points where they allow for compression, and basically we use different nuts, different washers to take the rods up through the roof, through the entire structure.
And this is what compresses everything together and holds it tight.
Correct.
Right? Making up for wind loads, shifts, and whatever.
Correct. And it'll run, as we said, from podium all the way through the roof.
Yeah.
And then on the outside of the building, there'll be a strapping detail, which will also help connect and hold the boxes together.
Right. I don't know if everybody can see that, but these are not small nuts, right? I'm holding my nut. So, I mean, look at the size of these things. So, in these rods, this is only a small rod. We're going to try and go inside and show you how this rod runs up through the center of these modules. It's tight in there. They're still working, so it's probably not going to be the full view we want to get, but I think by this afternoon, maybe we can take another walkthrough and get some areas cleaned up, and we can show everybody what's really going on in there.
Definitely.
So, here's what I love about it. Gary, I mean, you've been doing this 19 years. What's really important, I want everybody to know out there is, I mean, you're running a lot of what's happening here with the set crew, yes?
The on-site work, yes.
Yeah, for sure. For you, what has your biggest challenge been on this site?
Well, so this is a pretty standard site. You'll see a crane. For this site, 235 ton is what was required. Challenges, I guess, in city work is just getting the logistics figured out. Getting the box to the site is a challenge, and that's one big one.
Yeah, logistics is always a big one, but once you figure the logistics out, the process is just so much faster, and I think that's what's super important here. So, Gary, thanks for joining us for a little bit this morning. I think it's really important for people to understand that, we got young, hardworking people on site. We need more young, hardworking people in our industry, so it was great to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, you have a good one now. All right, Rob, let's hop into some details here. So, you've been doing this a long time. Like myself, I've seen you on video quite a bit, talking about what you do. Walk us through what's different about what we're doing here compared to a site-built project.
Well, I mean, if you just look around, we're inside a neighborhood. These people have lived here for their entire lives, potentially. Now, we're going to be here for, if I was stick framing this, I'd be here for roughly 18 months. On a modular project of this size, we should be here roughly 9 months. So we're going to cut our time in half,
right,
and have less of an impact on the people who are here. That's one of the other biggest things. When we come into a neighborhood, we've got to be cognizant of who's here already and how we're not going to disturb them, because A, if we keep them happy, the job is going to run a lot smoother. But B, this is not my home. This is their home, and we have to keep that in mind and make sure that that's always in the back of our head.
Sure. All right, everybody, just real quick, we're going to hop into a couple comments and hellos. We are on a different platform than what we do in our studio, so we're only taking questions on LinkedIn and comments on LinkedIn. We will monitor and go to the other sites after the show, but unfortunately, the way we're doing this today to bring you the high quality video that we're bringing you, we can't do all three platforms. So let's give a couple quick shout outs. We have Andreas Egger, greetings from Charlotte, North Carolina. We have June Suter. Do you know a lady named June Suter?
I know June well.
Hey, June, from VBC Volumetric Building. Joel Hutchins. Howdy there, Rob at Schmalbach. Do you know Joel Hutchins?
I know Joel very well.
This guy knows everybody, Joel, right? Everybody the guy knows.
He is connected.
We have David Mowry. Hello from VBC, man. We got Heather Wallace. Hey, Heather. Good that you're joining us. Morning from a smoky Seattle. Believe it or not, there's a smoke coming in over here. There's in the news that the smoke from out west is now over D.C. All right, we got Sean Hendricks. Good morning from Indy. Jim Monk, good morning from Big D, Dallas. John Hummel, hello from Central PA. We got Vahe Markosian. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Morning from BBC Studio. You're just going to agree with me if I got it right. And we got Ashley Buchholt. Nice job. Good morning from Chicago. Great way to be a good stewards for our neighborhoods. All right, so let's get into this a little bit more. So we were talking about the value of offsite construction. We hit on it a little bit yesterday. We're going to hit on it again today. The amount of disruption between this type of construction versus traditional site-built, because you came from the site-built world, is considerably less. And when we're in an urban infill environment like we are right now, where, I mean, there are literally thousands, if not millions of people all around us living. And it's not quiet. It's a really big deal that this can be done in 10 weeks or 10 days getting the module set.
Completely. I mean, you're just looking at the amount of trash, the amount of noise, just running generators all day, every day, and just the impact with, the noise for these people. And, we start at 7 o'clock, we go till sometimes 7 at night, and it really impacts their lives. And the shorter we can make that, and obviously the quicker we can get in and out.
Right. Well, there's that. And then there's also time on site for the companies that are doing this, the general contracting, the manufacturers. That time on site is so much less than a site build, which limits your liability, so your insurance risk is less, I'm assuming, right?
Definitely. Your insurance is less, and just the manpower, especially in a city like this, the manpower can be an issue. Where we're in a factory, the same guys are doing the same thing every day. When I was in the stick frame world, my framer was my trim guy who hung my windows, who hung my doors, who, patched drywall. They did a little bit of everything, but they were masters of none of it.
Right.
We're in a factory, we have the same people doing the same job every day, and they're able to master their craft.
Right, absolutely. And you mentioned people. Again, it's fewer vehicles, it's fewer impact all the way around, not just on the work on site, but the amount of traffic that has to come to this site on a daily basis.
Correct. And it's just, having the right people, and we've been lucky enough, and Gary's a prime example of it. We're putting the right people together in the right positions and letting them excel at what they do.
Right. All right, so let's hop into timelines of this project versus other projects that you worked on in the past, right? So you've done a lot of multifamily builds. I mean, you are probably the industry expert, in my opinion, on a lot of this, because you guys have been breaking new ground left and right. Tell us a little bit about this project compared to some other projects. Are you seeing any differences?
This one is extremely unique. It's not only, the footprint is not large, but the boxes are not rectangles. They're not simple to put together. There's a lot of angles. There's a lot of details on this set and design because we're on a corner lot, and the architects obviously wanted to maximize the amount of square footage and what they could get out of this build. They've certainly done that. And it's made for a little bit of a tricky installation and connections, but so far it's coming together really well.
Right. And do you know the timeline for this project right now?
In terms of when this will be complete?
When it'll be complete?
I believe they're supposed to be occupying it in the late winter, early spring.
Late winter, early spring. All right, so just think about it. We're almost into winter. We're in fall right now.
Yes.
So, we're talking 6 months or less probably.
Correct.
For a project this large in an urban infill on a steel podium. I think it's absolutely amazing. All right, let's get into the details because you're on the site. Let's talk about how you get involved in the process with engineering, design team, manufacturing, so you have less hiccups here on site. At what point does Rob step into this whole process and really have an in-depth conversation so you can avoid any issues on site?
Basically, once again, from day one. The second the architect is signed, we sit down and talk with them and their structural team and their other MEPs, and we basically just start explaining, ideally, hopefully they're educated on what we're building, but either way, we go through a process where we explain kind of the do's and don'ts. And the ultimate thing is how can we get a product for the client at the right price and then for the for the right amount of work on site, so that the guys on site aren't doing a lot of the conventional stuff.
Right.
With the proper design and the proper structural work, it can be a really smooth process, and in the end, it saves the client money, gets the project done quicker, and makes people happier.
Well, I mean, that's exactly it, right? I mean, you have fewer change orders, if any, right, on the actual boxes and structure side of this. And it's heads on beds quicker. We talk about this all the time, multifamily, getting them occupied, moving on to the next one so we can help in this affordable housing crisis we're in right now.
Correct.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's go through the weather tightness here, right? So here we are, we have this set. We got beautiful weather this week so far. Hopefully it stays that way. Walk us through some of the things you guys would do if we were starting to get some rain here.
So on the East Coast, we get all kinds of weather, whether it's quick rain, snow. The weather's always changing, so we always need to be ready. So we always have some tarps on hand. The idea is to get up to that roof box as quick as possible. The roofs come installed already with EPDM, so as soon as I get that roof box on, I know I'm covered vertically. But until we get to that roof box, if we're going to be leaving at night, we'll put tarps down, obviously always checking the weather. If a storm were to come in right now, the guys would, obviously jump into high speed and get the building covered.
Right, right. And I mean, that's it. I mean, weather's just a normal fact of any construction, right? But the difference is you're prepared to protect it here, even with the EPDM rubber roofs. Walk us through that process, right? We got 44 modules coming together. I don't know the stories. I got to look at it, but there's probably 10 modules up there, 12 modules, give or take, right? How's that EPDM? Is it all overlapped, folded back? Talk to us about how it's already prepped.
So when it comes to the factory, there's about 1 foot that overhangs down the sides. When we're assembling it, we pull that back. And then, as you just said, we infill between the two, and then we overlap them and put some temp tape down, and it is watertight the first day.
Right, right. Let's also get into, these modules and the importance of how well they're built, right? Being able to weather tight these modules is so important because we're building indoors in a controlled environment. Everything is dry. Even the lumber is dry kiln lumber that is being used on these homes, right? So you're not trapping moisture in the walls. We're getting better air quality, right? We're getting a healthier structure for people to live in, and you're not worrying about allergens and mold within these houses as soon as you move in because you trap that moisture. And I think it's a really important thing to talk about because we're talking about the California fires. Headline news, you got the smoke from California coming in. This is a really big deal that offsite construction offers to consumers and everybody else. Talk about the construction that we're using and why the value of that construction not only is better, but how it impacts people's lives and health.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple reasons there. I mean, in a typical stick frame, we're going 4 stories and we're framing, maybe a floor a week. So that building's going to be exposed for 2 months on end. They're also putting fire ratings, which is gypsum often as they go. Well, when it rains, not only is my framing material getting wet, now my fire ratings are getting wet as well, and that's really where the mold can grow if not treated properly.
Right, for sure.
The other benefits there are, I have a 2-wall system on every box. So for sound in these units, it's just a higher quality. I have 2 walls, they're both insulated, they both have a break, noise doesn't transfer through, so I not only have a healthier product, I have a quieter product.
You're absolutely right, and once we go inside here, they're actually going to be able to see that break in the walls, right? It's a good insulation from sound, but you guys are also filling it with insulation, right? I mean, it's the same thing. So walk us through what's happening on site here. Now, David, if we could just step back a little bit, I want to showcase some of the building and things that, Rob, you could talk us to, because right now we're standing next to this concrete block pillar. Tell us a little bit about what this is, and we can walk back and we can point a little bit.
Okay, so typically on site,
That's good.
At a CMU, they'll build stair towers, elevator shafts, and just means of egress. It can be made out of wood and gypsum, but on this particular project, they went with CMU. So that obviously gets erected before the modules come, and we will basically tie in around it, infill all of our boxes. Probably have to do a little bit of tightening up on site with some construction, and there'll be some fastening details that we can tie to the CMU.
And at what point does the elevator company come in and do their thing?
Ideally, as soon as the boxes are set, they'll be here soon, but there's a couple things that have to be installed first, and then you're at the mercy of the elevator company showing up.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Just like utility companies, you're always at the mercy of them. All right, so with that, we also can see, if we walk over here, David, just come back in a little bit. Here it looks like it's going to be the stairwell. Is that correct? So this is the fire escape stairwell coming down here?
Correct.
Right.
So there's our stairwell, and as we said before, our elevator shaft is behind us.
Right. So Dave, you can kind of show the elevator shaft in there a little bit. They can see what that looks like. I think that's super important to show. And
the other great thing is you see the stairwell there. So from day one, I have stairs in the building. I don't need to be climbing up ladders. I have to set one set of stairs.
Walk in there and show them that here, and then you can come back out. So David, just stand right there so we can show. What Rob's saying is day one, the steps are ready to go. They have, obviously you got to connect the top floor to second floor, but if you can see right behind Rob there, that's the second set of steps that go from the platform to the second floor, or the floor above.
Correct. It's already framed and ready to go. We just simply come in, slide it into place, and now we can safely get through the building. Nobody's on ladders. Nobody's having to use man lifts to get up and down. It's just a much safer way to get around the site.
Yeah. All right. So some other things I want to talk about. Rob, walk us through what we have. I see junction boxes here. I see it looks like MEP connections coming through here. Walk us through what is in these units and what this is all prepped for.
So the idea is, how do I keep trades out of the units? My plumber, love him to death, might not be the cleanest of workers. So let's keep as many trades in the hallway as we can. Let them do all their work out here. This line set runs from here into the apartment where the HVAC unit's already set.
Yeah.
Now my MEP installer just has to come, connect to here, and run to the roof or wherever his condenser is going to be.
All right, so that's a really important fact. So you're trying to run all your MEP connections in the central hallway so everybody can stay out of the units. What does that mean? That means hammers aren't banging cabinets. There's no finger pointing on why something got dinged or dented, because there's a lot of people working here, and that is absolutely something that needs to be accounted for, because in site-built construction, that's not possible.
Exactly. Site-built construction, my appliances are the last things that come in, right?
Yeah.
Here, my appliances are already in. I don't have to lug them through the building, but they are installed, so that hammer that goes against the refrigerator generally doesn't work well for the fridge.
No, not necessarily. All right, now walk us through some of the other construction we have here. Looks like we're on a 2x10 joist.
Correct.
Right? Tell us about the exterior wall construction, because we have fire insulation. I see we have double-rated 5/8 inch sheetrock, it looks like here.
Correct. So basically the stair tower has been built basically as its own shaft. That's what the double layer is there for. This plywood here is a fire-rated exterior sheathing.
Yeah, hold that up, David. Show that real quick. So that's a fire-rated exterior sheathing.
It's a regular OSB here with a coating on either end that gives it that rating, and this will go onto the entire perimeter of the building. So one layer of this, and we meet our fire ratings, and we are good to go.
So for everybody out there asking why we have sheetrock in the exterior of the building, that's not exactly what it is.
No, it's not. It is wood.
Right. All right, and then also behind us, I'm seeing some LVLs here, right? Walk us through, is this where our point loads are coming down?
Correct. So you'll have them throughout the building. You'll see them in the corridors and on the corners, and certain walls will have them.
Right. All right, David, we're going to walk inside this unit. It's going to be a little bit tight, and we're going to show you how these through bolts come through if it's possible. So come on inside. We can talk. Why don't we talk about this before you come in, David? Just so people can see how much work is done. You can see the bookshelves the mudroom seating's already in place with the cubby holes underneath. And you know what? We can hang our hat just like that and be on our way. So I love it. This is the value of modular. You have your steel frame door on. Why don't you walk us through what we have going here?
Exactly. So our door is already installed. It looks to be in great shape. And then, as you said, the options are limitless with my finishes here. I can do custom built-ins. I can go as high-end as I want or as low as I want.
That's exactly it. You know what? I want to point something out you just said, Rob. My finishes, right? That's so important. This is culture. You guys have a beautiful culture here at MMC and VBC. You guys really take pride in who you work for and what you do. And that shows in every project you do. I have yet to see anybody not happy with what you guys are doing, and I think that's a big testament to you. So I just wanted to point that out. Culture is a lot in the company. All right, so is there a possible way we can get back in here and show this through Rod? David, come around this way where I'm standing. You should be able to see it. I'll get behind Rob here so I'm out of the way. Rob, take us through what we have going on there.
So the ATS system is what I described earlier, and basically this is the one that's welded down to the podium. And as the building gets erected, they put on a nut, and then another piece, another nut, and just work their way up. And then there's certain areas where they'll have a plate and another device, and the device will help as the building compresses over time. It will let this adjust, and the whole system will come together. So as wood compresses, this will work with it.
Absolutely. All right, let's walk our way through here because we have a little bit of an opening to come through. Rob, walk us through how much of this is already done. When you guys see the tiles in place, David, I'm hopeful that this is going to show okay. So let's walk through it, and then Ben, when we come through here, let's show the MEPs already in place. This is such a big deal, and I think everybody needs to have a view of that.
Correct. So everything in here came from the factory. Our tiles are already installed. We have some access points above here for us to make some connections, as well as our tile floors in, our vanity, and if you do look up here, above us here is where the split system is. On this job, it is a ducted mini split. That the line set we looked at in the hallway is run to here, and then we'll continue up to the roof.
Yeah, so we'll work our way out so the audience can kind of see that. David, you could just stop over here on our way through, pan up there, just show them real quick, but don't make anybody sick. But Rob, I mean, look at this. Cabinets are in, right? We got it's probably locked for chipping. The medicine cabinets on the wall. We'll have water in no time.
Right.
This is a big deal. Again, coming back to multifamily and commercial buildings, getting it up and running fast is the key in all of this. And this is why modular and volumetric construction can make such a big impact on our affordable housing issue. And I know I keep saying that, but it is a real problem, and we're part of the solution. All right, let's walk through here. What do we have all over the floor here?
So there's some things that haven't been installed at this point because basically these units are 3-bedroom apartments. So we have mate line situations. So there is some ship loose cabinetry and other materials that'll get assembled on site in areas where the boxes come together. What you can also see in here is the size of the window. I mean, this is a floor-to-ceiling window, absolutely beautiful, and just shows that the constraints, you know, a lot of people don't know what you can put in a modular box, and this shows that you have a lot of options, as well as more built-in cabinetry that is assembled here. These cabinets actually will end up right next to us here because there is another plumbing connection that's going on in the ceiling up above us here. They haven't removed the drywall yet, but you can see there's a hole there for that.
So, David, how about this? What I want you to do is just turn around where you're at, show those MEPs, and what Rob and I are going to do is we'll go through this way. You come back out through over there, okay? Come on over this way, Rob. This gets a little darker in here. All right, David, we're going to, if you want to come over this way. All right, so, you know, watch your step here because there are ship loose items that are laying down here. This might be a little dark. I'm going to try and put my phone on, but David, come on over here. I mean, this is pretty much the galley kitchen.
So this is the galley kitchen. You will see there's no flooring installed yet, and the appliances in this apartment are in the unit but not installed. So basically, I have a mate line here. So I have 2 modules, Module A and Module B, that are connecting here. So I'll come in, I'll do some bolting. I'm sure there's specific patterns that come from the structural engineers. And then we'll infill the plywood, patch the subfloor, and then install our flooring. And then your kitchen will be a little bit of drywall work, and your kitchen is ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, literally ready to go. The faucet's in, the subway tile's in. Up above, you don't have to show it, David. We got the MEPs up above. But this is so important, understanding the tolerances and the mate lines and how everything comes together, because those through bolts that you were showing before, I mean, they're also running there. So that is how precise, you know, modular and volumetric construction is. You really have to account for every detail. And this is why you don't have the level of change orders and hiccups on site, because we are building it twice. We're building it once on the computer, and then we're building it again on site. So we know it works. Doesn't mean there's not a hiccup here and there, but it is construction, but we know it works. I love it. I love it. All right, let's work our way back outside. David, try not to fall over this time. You got a little wobbly on the way in here on that one. So you're doing a great job, and I think let's go see what they have going on. That next module is probably coming up here soon. Let's go back this way, David. All right. Come on out here, Rob. We promised everybody an in-depth look into what's going on, and we may do that again. Yeah, just walk right over there. We can stand here and talk about what's happening. All right. So what do we have up here with the junction boxes? Again, this is where everybody's tying in. And I think what people need to know, and David, you don't have to show it, it is completely labeled: smoke, living room, lighting, dining, bath, refrigerator. I mean, it's plug and play even for the on-site trades. Even for the on-site trades. So, David, if you could walk over here. Can you show this? Talk me through what we have going on here. Why are we building this out off the wall?
Okay, so this is an RC channel. This channel plus the gypsum creates part of the fire rating for the assembly in the hallway. And then up above, when you pointed at the electric boxes, so my electric panel is in this module, but I have plenty of other wires and other things happening in this module. Instead of having access holes for all of these wires to be connected, we basically run the wires once again to the hallway, just like our plumbing pipes, trying to keep the trades out. Now the electrician comes in, connects from box A to box B, power gets turned on, and everything works.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. All right, let's step back here in the light. You don't want to go that way. They got some lifts coming down, some scissor lifts. David, you can stand right there. We got to get to some more shout outs to everybody here. Thank everybody for joining us together today. All right, so we have, did I say Jim Monk earlier? Good morning from Big D, Dallas. Maybe I did. John Hummel, hello from Central PA. I did say some of those, Ashley. Oh, there we go. Miles Biggs Ideas. Excited to see the MMC take shape. Kudos to all involved. We got Brian Everson from T-Stud. Brian Everson, morning, Dave and Jennifer. Production started today. I guess he's starting to work on some of his own. Jennifer says offsite construction is a perfect solution for high-density urban infill real estate development projects. She would be right there. George Ryman, has VBC or MMC ever considered prefabricated steel elevator cores?
We have used on a previous project a pre-assembled elevator that came in 2 pieces. It was 5 stories, and it worked very well. And we've looked at it on some other projects, but we have used them before, yes.
Got it. Good. Hope that answered your question. Or prefabricated modular steel stair systems, such as, and he put a link to something. But I'm assuming that's what that's going to be in the center there.
No, I believe in the center there is an open
foyer.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So he's asking if you ever considered using steel stairs.
We have. The only steel stairs that we've used have been built on site by local fabricators. We have not used modular stairs.
Yeah. Miles Big says you're a natural on camera, Rob. Listen,
Thanks,
Miles, I don't want to. I already lost my job to Jennifer yesterday. I don't need to lose my job to Rob now. Cut it out. All right, we have Judy Donnell, one of my new favorite people. Good morning from North Carolina. Thank you for joining us, Judy. Love Judy. Judy is with 84 Lumber, right? Which is a female-owned business. Sure. But Judy is also the chair of the NAHB Associates. So the 88,000 members below her. And cool. She does a lot of volunteer work and gives. She's such a great person, and I'm blessed to just have met her. All right, Sean Hendricks. Love seeing the smaller details that go into the process. Got to blow it up, sorry. That show how quickly and efficient the construction phase for modular volumetric construction. Love it. Thanks, Sean. You know that guy, right?
I do know Mr. Sean, yes.
You do know Sean. All right, Sean asks, what does Rob think about what the MMC is doing about providing a scalable national solution for modular to solve housing issues across the country?
Well, I mean, one factory can't solve this problem that we have, and trying to unite and bring these individuals together is really what our goal is. Vaughn and I, when we started a long time ago, we've always tried to educate people. We want more people involved in this. We can't do it alone. There's so much work out there. The more good, smart people we can get involved in this and all come together, it's just going to benefit us all. Yeah. It's the only way we're going to be able to actually make a dent and make an impact in the problems that we're living.
Yeah, for sure. You're absolutely right. When we're only 3.5% of the entire construction industry, and we can get as much built as fast as we can with volumetric modular construction, we can make a big impact. And there's no reason, like this collaboration in the MMC, that more and more people should not come together and grow this industry, because there is a lot out there for everybody. There's so much work now, there's not enough capacity to even do it. That's how much work there is.
Completely.
I love it. All right, Ryan Dreyer. Robert Smallback is in his zone. All right, guys, listen. You're not allowed to take my job. I love it. I love it. Talking about what he knows best, and you're absolutely right. You are the man when it comes to this. And Dr. Brent Musson says good morning.
Good morning.
From the West Coast. Dr. Musson is a force to be reckoned with. So, all right, everybody, listen, I'm going to talk about one last thing. Let's show this open podium or foyer that goes through the podium here, and then we're going to wrap it up, Rob.
Sounds good.
So, David, you stand here, and we'll go on the other side. All right, so walk us through what we have going on here.
So you can look down below. Obviously, we've got our steel framing happening on the first floor for a non-combustible first floor, which I'm sure is what's called out here. And basically, we're just working on alignment. How do we align, make sure everything lines up properly, and we're going to have a nice, smooth finish for the client.
Absolutely. Now, do you know, is this living space or retail space below?
Retail space below, some bike storage, of course, because we're in a city, and every project we work on has bike storage now. We're right by a metro line here, which is another great aspect of this building. So there's not any parking, so other methods of transportation.
I love it. Well, you know, it's green, and that's what people want now.
Yep.
Everywhere around. You don't need any car around here. I mean, there's scooters and electric bikes everywhere to be had, so which is great. All right, everybody, listen, Rob, I really appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate the detail of you walking us through everything. What's in your future? What do you have coming up next that you got your eyes on the project?
Just, we've got some really neat stuff happening in Philadelphia, but just, hopefully getting back to normal and getting back out there and seeing some other people around the country and just, learning from them.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, everybody, listen, this is Dave Cooper Live. Please hit that like and share button. Please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. It's super important that we keep spreading the word and everything we're doing. Plus, you can watch all the last shows. So if you missed yesterday, guess what? It's on YouTube for us. Rob, I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate that the Modular Mobilization Coalition has allowed me to come out here and talk about all this stuff. We are going to be live again at 1 o'clock, and then we're also going to be live again at 3 o'clock with Vaughn Buckley and the new COO, who might be on at 1 o'clock. We don't know yet. We're working through some scheduling there. But definitely tune in at 3 o'clock. Vaughn Buckley will be on the show. We will talk about how all this came together, and Vaughn is one of the founders of the MMC. So join us then. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Hold on.